Hello, I'm Alison Lalieu, CEO of UBalancer Solutions, a leadership coaching organisation here in Australia. I'm really thrilled to be co-facilitating and co-presenting this training with you. And I'd love to introduce the primary facilitator for today, who is Ginny Lalieu, who is an educator working in the UK at the moment and a really a wonderful specialist in emotional intelligence for children. So welcome, Ginny. I'll hand over to you now.
Thanks, Alison. Hi, everybody. It's really great to have you here. Thank you for tuning in on our mini-series on self-awareness. So this first talk that we're going to be exploring is about values and unlocking your values. So I want you to think about a time where you've had to make a decision and you're just not sure what the right thing to do is. Doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel aligned to what really matters to you and what is important to you. So I want you to take a moment to reflect on an experience that you may have had where you're moving into a space and you're not quite sure what the right thing for you is to do. We call that our compass, and our true north is dictated by our values. And it's not hard to know. It's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. So that's why talking about values is so important and so crucial. In 6 Seconds, which is a global emotional intelligence network, we talk about 3 key pursuits for emotional intelligence. The first pursuit is knowing yourself, which means clearly seeing what you feel and what you do. It's all about awareness of the self and awareness of the patterns that you tend to step into when you're reacting from emotion. We also talk about choose yourself, which means doing what you mean to do, making choices that align with what you really want. And finally, we talk about give yourself, which means doing it for a reason, really knowing why you're doing something. Self-awareness involves all of these pursuits, but particularly knowing yourself. And knowing your values means that you are able to give yourself and make choices that give yourself to your values and what you want. So we're going to start with a mindfulness exercise. This is a really quick little exercise that you can do to connect to all the different parts in your body that help you to make a good decision. So I'm just going to ask you to get comfy and soften your gaze. Find a quiet space inside yourself and start with 3 deep conscious breaths, gathering your awareness to right now. Breathing in and out. In and out. Deeply in and slowly out. Bringing your awareness to your head now, imagine breathing into that space. And with your awareness in the head, acknowledge what kind of thoughts are present for you right now. Notice these thoughts and watch them objectively from the seat of your consciousness, remembering that you are not the voice of your mind, you are the one who hears it. Breathing deeply into this headspace, in and out. Now dropping your awareness to the heart center. Place a hand over your heart and sense your breath flowing into this space. You may want to even visualize a soft pastel light or coolness pervading from your chest. Allowing your breath to flow in and out, ask your heart what it needs to say. Take a moment to attend to what you really care about and what your deepest intention is. Breathing in and letting it out. Now dropping your awareness to your gut. Place your hand over your abdomen and breathe into that space. Tune into any hunches, intuitions of emotions that are coming up for you right now, your gut feelings. Just listening and breathing in and letting it out. Taking a deep, slow and conscious breath, collect all this information from your head, from your heart, and from your gut. And ask yourself, what shall I do now? Listen for the answer. Now, this is a really lovely meditation or quick mindfulness exercise to do to connect to the 3 brains that we actually have. We have the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain. Head, heart, and gut. And it's really interesting because when you think of your brain, most people will think about the brain in their head, which is incredibly complex system of cells. We have over 100 billion neurons, also called nerve cells, in our brain. And it's the seat of our logic and intellect. It's our thoughts, the origin of our thoughts. And it's where our unconscious mind operates and directs about 90% of our behaviors. The heart is made up of 40,000 neurons. So in addition to all its other very important functions, it acts as a brain which can sense, feel, learn, and remember. There are actually more neural pathways running upwards from the head to the heart than there are down. And your gut, you have 100 million neurons in your intestines. So the gut's now being referred to by many specialists as the gut brain. And 90% of the body's serotonin involved in mood actually comes from the gut. So it's really important to tune into these different aspects of your being when making important decisions. And we can link these to what we talk about in 6 seconds, emotional intelligence, which is think, feel, and act. So what you're thinking, like, that makes sense. I know this because. And you can link it to your feelings. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling energized. This feels good for me. And how you act from the gut, it's right. It feels right. My gut is telling me that this is the right thing to do. And those 3 dimensions are very interrelated, and they have a dynamic impact upon our sense of purpose in our lives. And they also link very closely into how we're motivated. And we talk about 2 kinds of motivation: intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. You may have heard of this before. Intrinsic motivation comes from inside out. Your sense of autonomy, your sense of independence, your sense of belonging, your curiosity, your love of learning and love of other people, your passion to want to master something. Those all motivate you from intrinsic, from inside, and they are unlimited. They have unlimited potential to empower you. There's also extrinsic motivation. So that's getting a pat on the back from your teacher, getting a good grade, a badge, a competition, winning money, being the fear of being punished. All of those factors come from outside of you, and they are very powerful, but they are limited in how they can support your potential to really get what you want out of life. And integrity means choosing courage over comfort. So the easy thing to do is work from, I have to do this because it's an assignment that's been set for me at school. And choosing courage means I want to do this because I know that it's going to do this and this and this for me. I know it's going to lead on to greater opportunities. I know it's going to ignite curiosity in me. Choosing what's right over what is fun, fast, or easy, the fast food of decisions, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply profess them. So today we're going to find out what your values are, and we're going to take it a step further to inspire you to actually live into them. That gives us integrity. So what are your core values? Now, this isn't just something you know. It's something that you work into, that you dig deep to discover. So we're going to begin with a mountaintop experience. Now, you can pause the screen at the next slide and take as much time as you want to really dig deep into this. But I want you to think about a time in your life where you have just felt at the peak of that mountain, where you have felt high on life, where you felt you're having a peak experience, everything's flowing and it feels so good. And I want you to draw that experience. Draw what it felt like, what symbols come up for you. Often we discover more through drawing than we can through writing. Some different things tend to come up. So just draw what that felt like and then write about it. What were you feeling? What were you doing? Who was there? And then take a moment to really reflect on what values were really being expressed or lived into in that time. What was it? Family? Was it passion? Was it curiosity? Was it independence? What were you experiencing in that time? So feel free to pause this slide now and take as long as you need to explore this activity and experience for yourself what you think your values may be. And now we're going to get a little bit more nitty-gritty around our values, and we're going to unlock our top 2. So it's actually much more effective to know your top 2 values rather than your top 10. It's much more easy to be consistent and live into them and recall them through your everyday actions. So I want you to pause the next slide and just jot down all the words that stand out to you the most. So pausing it now. Have a read through all these values and just sketch down all of the values, maybe 10, that really ring true for you, something you really value. Perhaps think about your mountaintop experience and what that showed you. Now that you have those words, you've unpaused, take a moment to group those words together. Find the themes or the common stories with each value. I came up when I did mine with 3 different kinds of groups with different kinds of values. And then try to value one word from each group that most encompasses or resonates with you the most. And then pick your top 2. This changes all the time. So remember, you can revisit it at any time. Okay. My values are integrity and compassion at the moment, but that has changed. The more that I reflect and learn, I revisit this and think, what is it that I really want to live into at the moment? I know Alison's are family and integrity. And every day we explore how we're living into those values and living out of them. A great activity as well to dig into what your values are is doing a values tree. I won't spend very long on this because I know we've got limited time, but feel free to pause this slide to think about where your values are actually coming from. So drawing a beautiful tree, seeing the roots and the trunk and the branches, I want you to think about the roots being the values you've taken from your family or childhood, the ones that your parents taught you. Maybe it's tradition, maybe it's respect, maybe it's compassion. Think about the values that have come from your family and that have been passed down. And with the trunk of your tree, think about the values that have come from your friends, your relationships, work, school, travel, books you've read, anything that you've experienced through your life. For me, my friends have taught me the value of laughter and humor and fun. That's something that they've taught me and that I've brought into my life. That would be the trunk of my tree. And lastly, think about the branches, what's growing up from your roots, the values you're wanting to grow in your life, the fruits of your tree. Things perhaps like integrity, like intrinsic motivation, like passion, like purpose. Explore where those different values are coming up for you. And then when you have a really good understanding of what your values really are, it's a great opportunity to make tangible reminders. So make them real. I have a little stone in my bag that I just took a Sharpie and I wrote my top 2, compassion and integrity, and I carry them around with me everywhere, literally like a physical touchstone. So when I need to make a decision and I'm not sure about what my head, heart, and gut are saying and how they're aligning, I'll take my stone and I'll just hold it for a little bit, maybe doing the meditation that we did at the beginning. And I'll think, what would I do if I were really living into these 2 values that I know are so important for me and my sense of happiness, my sense of fulfillment? Some other ideas might be just creating artwork, what your value is and what your value is not, what it actually looks like, what it does and what it doesn't. And you could have this displayed in your room above your entrance, or anywhere in your home as a visual reminder of the kind of person you want to be and the kind of values you want to live by. You could create your own coat of arms, where you just download a template on the internet or create your own. And with each section, this one has more than 2. Ideally, you want to just have your 2. Create what it means to you and be proud of it as your coat of arms. This stands for you. This is what you stand for. Or, you could do the touchstone idea, which I've been finding really helpful as a physical touchstone, a physical reminder of your core values and how you're bringing that into your decision making with your head, your heart, and your gut brains. Thank you so much, everyone. We hope you've learnt something today about values. Thank you to Alison. Is there anything you wanted to add, Alison, to those exercises?
Thanks so much, Ginny. I love those exercises, and it actually reminded me, I think I'm going to go and create a coat of arms. I did one a couple of years ago. My values have changed, so I'm going to go and revisit that one and design a coat of arms to have with me and carry with me. I love that exercise, and actually I really love the meditation too. So thanks so much, Ginny. It was great.
Thanks so much.